What's going on, guys? Wei Koh from Revolution. So I'm really happy to showcase some of the guys that I think that you normally don't see, right? But actually are making some important and really massive contributions to watchmaking. So I have Raphaël Nussbaumer, who is actually celebrating 30 years in the watch industry, and actually 15 years at Hublot just a couple of days ago on September 1st, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
He's the product director of Hublot, and then we have, I guess, a guy that's kind of a legend in the watch industry, Mr. Mathias Buttet. Comment ça va, mon ami?
Ça va très bien, mais après 37 ans dans l'horlogerie, on se dit bonjour comme ça.
C'est pas vrai. He's saying that after 37 years, he's doing well, but he's a bit, but it's not true. He's at the peak of his powers. And Mathias is also a bit of a legend in the watch industry as well. He started at Nouvelle Lemania, then he went to Vacheron Constantin, then he was at Frank Muller, and then after Frank Muller, he created the legendary B&B concept as well. Incidentally, there's still some of the most famous independent watch brands today that are still using his movements, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then he came here to Hublot, and he's been combien de ans chez Hublot?
15.
15 aussi. So two anniversaries. You guys joined in the same year, 2010.
Yeah,
right?
6 months later.
Amazing. Okay, the other reason why I want to talk to them is this, right? I think that Hublot represents an amazing amount of technical innovation. It's just that the world has been a little bit quiet about communicating it. So this is the whole objective of these videos. So I don't know if you guys have seen the video that I did with Christophe Liner, who is the gentleman who created the Unico movement here at Hublot. And it was really interesting to me because even I didn't realize what a technical powerhouse that movement is, right? One of the very first automatic movements with 2 clutches, one driven off the barrel directly for the minute counter, so there's no parasitical loss of energy, and then another one for the seconds, of course. And then to have double sets of Liga wheels with flexible teeth to eliminate things like chronograph backlash, to eliminate things like a traditional spring jumper. That watch is absolutely fantastic. And to have these 2 wheels on an oscillating clutch that you can see from the front of your watch, right?
It's very unique.
It's incredible. And so for me, this showed me that the Unico was really one of the great movements in watchmaking today. And it was in front of our nose the entire time. I always joke, it's like the girl that lives next door and she's the most beautiful girl, but you don't realize it because she has the big glasses. And then one day she takes it off and shakes her hair and you're like, oh, you know? Right. Anyway, I don't even look at any other women because I'm very happily married and I love my wife a great deal. Hi, babe. Okay, so I want to talk first about a material called ceramic. So talk to me about the practical advantages of ceramic in watchmaking and when we saw ceramic for the first time, Raphaël, in Hublot.
Hublot started to use ceramic first time in the first original Big Bang in 2005. For the first time, Hublot used a ceramic bezel, a black ceramic bezel, and also a new chapter is born at this time with the ceramic bezel, especially for the bezel because you protect your bezel against the scratch because ceramic is hard. It's unscratchable, we can say, except with diamond, of course. Means it's a new way to protect your bezel against the scratch.
Really cool. And then when did we transition from a ceramic bezel to a full ceramic case?
Of course, as you know, Mr. River would like to go a step further, and in 2006, he presents the new all-black concept. And the idea behind, as you remember at this time, it was really to have a full black watch case, black diamond and black hands, the invisible visibility with a full watch case in a black ceramic.
So this is 2006, and this is really capturing the zeitgeist of the moment, right?
Yeah.
And it was really funny because within 1 year, this became the most copied watch in the watch industry. Everyone had somehow launched a black on black on black watch. That was the vibe at the time. But there was a great deal of integrity here because you're creating all the blackness, not with surface coatings, but with a material that is one of the highest Vickers hardness in all of luxury, which means it is basically unscratchable unless at home you have a bathtub full of diamonds and you roll around in it at nighttime, right?
Right.
Okay, but ceramic had one aesthetic limitation in that it basically came in 2 colors at the time, right? So it was either black or it was white, right?
Yeah, white except kind of, pastel color at this time, but
Yes.
It was mainly black and white.
So, but you were the first maison to create really vibrant colored ceramics, because from what I understand in the sintering process of ceramic, the pigments degrade. And so you found a way to preserve this pigment degradation and create this, which was a big bang with a full bright red ceramic case, right? Tell me
of
about
course.
that.
Yeah, the vivid color like red and yellow, for example, in our collection, is really now since 2018, something like that. It takes time to develop this in-house processing to protect the pigmentation again the high temperature during the sintering process. This is a completely different process compared to the standard production of ceramic like black or white. Of course, Mathias could explain a bit better how we can do this incredible red ceramic.
Je peux vous demander, Mathias, parce que normalement, dans l'horlogerie, il y a noir ou blanche.
J'avais compris.
Mais, ok, cool. Mais vous avez créé ces rouges incroyables. Comment c'est quoi les techniques, en fait?
Ben, la technique, déjà, c'est une équipe qui a besoin ou envie de faire quelque chose qui n'existe pas chez les autres. Ça, c'est la première
Let's make a
motivation.
translation. Okay, the first step is to have a team that wants to do things that no one else has ever done. J'adore. Oui.
Ouais. Nous aussi. Et je pense que c'est la motivation pour tous les autres matériaux. Et la chose principale, c'est que sur le marché, quand on avait besoin d'une couleur de céramique vive, sans parler de Ferrari, du rouge Ferrari, du jaune Ferrari, mais c'est des couleurs très très vives, le problème c'est que lorsqu'on va friter la céramique, c'est-à-dire qu'on va mettre une température élevée, 1700 degrés, pour durcir cette poudre céramique, eh bien, les pigments de couleur qu'on met à l'intérieur, à cette température, ils brûlent.
Ah oui.
Ils brûlent et ils deviennent bruns, mais que tu mettes du jaune, du rouge, de n'importe quelle couleur, ils passent au brun parce que en passant le seuil des 1000-1200 degrés, tous les pigments brûlent.
Je fais une traduction. So what Mathias is saying is when you try to put colored pigments inside of ceramic, when you are doing the sintering process, you need to bring up the temperature to between 1000 to 1200 degrees. And at this point, the pigments burn and everything basically becomes brown. So c'est quoi la solution?
Alors, la solution, c'est d'arrêter, dans l'équipe, de parler de température.
Ah.
Et on s'est dit, on va arrêter de toujours parler avec de la température parce que on s'en sort pas. Il faut parler avec de l'énergie.
Ah.
Et pourquoi énergie? Parce que si je mets dans ma main ici de la poudre qui est un petit peu rose, hein, c'est du blanc et du rouge avec les pigments rouges, je fais chauffer, je vais jusqu'à 1000 degrés environ, la poudre reste rose, mais elle est chaude, mais elle n'est pas dure.
Oui.
Maintenant, si je rajoute cette température, les 700 degrés qui manquent pour que ça devienne dur, que la céramique se frite, on dit, eh bien, ça va tout faire brûler, comme on a dit. Alors, pour mettre cette énergie qui manque, les 700 degrés, on a changé, on ne met pas de la température, mais on met de la pression.
Ah!
Et la pression,
Physically, it's the same, finally.
il faut mettre énormément de pression pour remplacer les 700 degrés qui manquent.
Incroyable.
Comme ça, dans la céramique, il y a suffisamment d'énergie pour qu'elle se frite. Mais c'est une pression, c'est pas s'asseoir sur une chaise, hein, c'est 600 tonnes par centimètre carré.
Okay, Raphaël, you got to take the tradition of this one because it's quite
Just to
technical.
say, it's interesting to understand. It's completely to rethinking the process from a right page, and finally to transform something, we need energy. And the energy is coming by temperature. Another way is high pressure.
Wow.
And we reduce the temperature to protect the pigmentation, and we increase incredibly the temperature until the pressure. Sorry, until you say 6.
C'est quoi la
1000
De quelle température?
600, non, la pression.
La pression, on est à 600 tonnes par centimètre carré.
Yeah, 600 tons per
square centimeter?
centimeter.
That's crazy.
Exceptionally, to have another way to obtain an incredible energy to transform the raw material and protect the pigmentation against the temperature.
Okay, I got to ask you this question because it's very rare in a maison to have a team that has the freedom to experiment and think outside the box in this way. Why is it important for Hublot to have Mathias and his team thinking and to find solutions in the creative way that they do?
Yeah, it's key for Hublot, and it's probably the most important thing in the long journey of Hublot the last 15 years, because he had with his team a lot of innovation. We have another things will come in the future, but it's very key for us. He brings to the product development strategy product a lot of interesting things like the red ceramic, like magic gold, and recently the B color ceramic. As you know, it's always an incredible say in English, incredible innovation
Yes.
parts of Hublot.
Okay, you mentioned magic gold, and this is one of my favorite subject matters, right? Because I find it incredible that there's so many gold sports watches on the market, which is you're basically taking a sports watch and making them the very beautiful but most fragile material conceivable, right? With one of the lowest Vickers hardness. So you guys took it upon yourself to reconcile the beauty of gold with the hardness of ceramic, and in so doing, I think you even work with the Swiss Federation, some institute, to create this alloy, which is primarily gold, right?
Yeah.
It's classified as gold, but it has ceramic in there as well. Matthias, c'est quoi l'inspiration pour créer le Magic Gold?
L'inspiration, c'est le seul cahier des charges qu'on ait reçu aux recherches et développement. C'est à l'époque M. Biver qui a dit « Je veux de l'or inrayable » en tapant sur la table. C'était le cahier des charges simple mais très efficace. Et voilà, tout a commencé comme ça, parce que l'or, tout le monde l'utilise,
Oui.
toute l'horlogerie l'utilise, et puis l'humanité l'utilise déjà depuis des milliers d'années.
Oui.
Donc l'or est dans la mémoire collective et tout, mais il y avait un seul et unique problème, et il y a toujours, c'est que l'or se raye tout de suite. On achète une pièce dans un magasin, 2 jours après, on peut téléphoner pour dire « mais il y a des rayes partout, et elle est abîmée ». Alors que Magic Gold, on peut l'apporter pas 2 jours, mais 2 ans, 20 ans, j'espère.
Je suis complètement d'accord. So Mathias was saying that it's funny that Mr. Beavers, one day he pounded the table and said, I want indestructible gold, because it's true that, you put a gold watch on and it's so fragile, and in just a couple of days, it will have scratches everywhere. C'est rigolo parce que moi, j'ai choisi une montre sport, or, et c'est le seul que je porte avec un peu de liberté.
Coolness.
Yeah, it's the only. So I have one gold sports watch that I in my mind I'm like, okay, this is the one that's going to scratch, right? Because everything else I'm so stressed all the time as well. So c'est quoi exactement la composition de Magic Gold?
Alors, c'est un composite qui est fait de céramique et d'or pur.
24 carats gold.
24 karat gold, right?
C'est du 18 carats, mais toute l'horlogerie, toute la bijouterie fait toujours un alliage d'or, bien sûr, puisque c'est du 18 carats, et ce qui reste à mettre dans l'alliage,
Oui.
l'horlogerie a l'habitude, la bijouterie, de mettre des métaux.
Oui.
Et en fait, ça limite vraiment énormément le fait de rendre l'or dur avec des métaux qu'on peut mettre dedans.
Okay, so what Matthias is saying is that it's traditionally in jewelry, it's never pure gold. So you're always taking 18 karat gold and you're adding a different metal. So for example, red gold or white gold or yellow gold, it's all not pure gold. It's gold combined with other things, other metals. But if you're only adding other metals, and usually those metals have a soft, or even softer than gold, right? Right? Then you're going to have a soft material. So, mais comment il y a une alliance entre les deux? Ouais.
Alors, si on met du métal, le métal d'origine est lourd. Hein.
Oui.
On a une densité très élevée. Alors, si on peut mettre 3 quarts d'or, si on doit mettre 3 quarts d'or, il reste 1 quart pour mettre une autre matière. Les règlements, c'est ce qu'on a trouvé, c'était l'idée de base. Le règlement de passage des douanes ne dit pas que le dernier quart qu'on doit mettre doit être métallique. Il parle de matière, mais de n'importe quelle matière. Ça peut être du miel, ça peut être du bois, ça peut être ce que l'on désire.
Oui.
Et là, on s'est dit tout de suite, il y a eu les petites lumières qui se sont allumées, on s'est dit, ah, mais si on peut mettre tout, on va mettre quelque chose qui est beaucoup plus léger que le métal.
Oui.
Et on a choisi une céramique qui a 2 qualités pour nous, pour le Magic Gold. C'est que c'est le carbure de bord qui est la céramique, qui est la matière, la deuxième la plus dure au monde après le diamant.
Oui.
Et la deuxième qualité, c'est que cette céramique carbure de bord est très légère. Elle a 2,5 de densité, alors que la céramique habituelle a 6. Donc on est déjà beaucoup plus léger qu'une céramique standard.
Ah oui.
Donc ça nous a permis, ce dernier quart, mais d'augmenter le volume. En français, dans les écoles, on dit à des enfants, on leur pose la question, quand ils sont dans la petite école, on leur dit qu'est-ce qui est le plus lourd, 1 kilo de plomb ou 1 kilo de plume? Et en fait, on apprend très vite que c'est le volume qui va changer.
Ça, c'est intéressant.
Alors, en mettant le carbure de bord, le dernier quart reste toujours le dernier quart, mais à la place d'avoir un volume, par exemple, comme ça grand, eh bien, il est devenu tout d'un coup beaucoup plus grand.
Ah, ça c'est intéressant.
Alors, c'est comme si je disais, ça c'est le 3/4 et 1/4, c'est l'or habituel partout. Et puis nous, le dernier quart, ce qu'on a fait en mettant de la céramique, il est devenu beaucoup plus grand, et puis ça fait un petit tas de céramique. Mais quand on mélange ces deux choses, il y a toujours 1 kilo,
Oui.
et puis il y a toujours du 18 carats.
Okay, so this is important. So gold is classified by a certain way. So for example, it's 3/4 pure gold, right?
Yeah.
But the law doesn't tell you what you can put in. You can put in honey. You could even put in
the
wood
alloy.
in the alloy.
Exactly.
So Mathias and his team were like, we should put in carbon boride because it's the second hardest material after diamonds. It is ceramic, but it also has a very low density, 2.5 versus 6 times, which is ceramic, right? And as a result, when you put it in, for the same weight, you get a much greater volume as well, right? And so you have a material that is, from a volume perspective, has a greater percentage of ceramic, right? Because it's based on weight.
Yeah.
So, but how do you get them to come together?
Alors, avec cette poudre céramique qui a un grand volume, on vient tout simplement créer un solide
Oui.
de céramique carbure de bord, mais qui a une particularité, c'est qu'il est poreux, mais très poreux. Tous les fabricants de céramique veulent faire une céramique qui est dense, où il n'y a pas de porosité parce que c'est des amorces de rupture, parce que c'est des défauts dans la matière. Mais nous, c'est le contraire. On a voulu vraiment faire une sorte d'éponge, de structure, mais comme une éponge.
Like a sponge.
Nice
Ouais.
response.
That's crazy.
Et après,
But very, very small holes.
And you put gold
You
into
cannot
it.
see the holes.
1,5 micron de porosité.
Oui.
Hein, donc c'est des chemins de pore, on appelle
Oui.
ça. Et on vient dans une machine qu'on a développée pour ce procédé. Et on met la céramique, la matrice de céramique qui est dure, deuxième matière au monde. Et puis on met de l'or par-dessus. On fait chauffer tout ça pour que l'or devienne pâteux, comme du beurre de pâtisserie, un petit peu. Et puis on vient mettre une pression grâce à du gaz, de l'argon, qui vient en fait pousser cet or pâteux
Et c'est parti.
à l'intérieur de toutes les porosités de la céramique. Et là, tout de suite, paf, on a le Magic Gold parce qu'on a de l'or 18 carats et qui est inrayable.
Okay, this is really cool. So what you do is, because there's a greater volume based on carbon boride's lightness, you create basically a structure in ceramic, but it's extremely porous. It's like a sponge.
Yeah.
And then they had to develop a whole new technique and a machine to be able to do this, to insert the gold into all the cavities of the ceramic, and then create huge pressure using argon gas, so that, much like when butter is melted, it goes everywhere and it becomes uniform in terms of its structure. Mais la couleur, c'est la couleur naturelle?
Alors, c'est la couleur naturelle et on ne peut pas la changer.
Ah ben c'est incroyable.
Pourquoi ? On peut la changer
Ouais.
à condition de descendre les 18 carats à 10 carats.
Oui.
Pourquoi ? Parce que on vient polluer avec des pigments de couleur
Oui.
ce qu'il reste du dernier quart où on met le carbure de bord. On devrait mettre de la couleur. Mais si on fait ça,
Wow.
on rajoute de la densité, du poids et on perd la proportion
Oui,
de
oui.
18 carats.
So he's saying, Mathias is saying, so what's really cool is when you look at this is not a treatment. It is the natural color of the material, the color of gold penetrating ceramic.
Yeah.
And that's really unique from a visual signature perspective. And it is classified, because you go based on weight, really as 18 karat gold. It is 18 karat gold in every single sense of but it has this incredible density, this incredible scratch resistance, thanks to this incredible mixture with ceramic. I mean, it's incredible.
Mais c'est un avantage, hein, cette couleur qui est différente. Au début, ça pouvait paraître, certains journalistes nous disaient, mais jamais on croira que c'est de l'or, on dirait du bronze. Puis en fait, on a toujours mis en avant le fait que c'est génial parce que c'est reconnaissable à une distance de 3 tabourets de bar, comme on dit souvent. Et ça donne le côté unique. Et si tu avais dans le magasin une montre en or 18 carats standard et une montre en Magic Gold l'une à côté de l'autre, si elles avaient la même couleur, La seule façon de savoir laquelle est rayable, c'est de les prendre les deux, de les rayer, puis dire « Oh bah c'est celle-là qui est rayée ». Donc on peut pas vivre comme ça. Donc autant avoir un moyen instantané de dire « Bah voilà, ça c'est la pièce en Magic Gold ».
Incredible. Well, okay, so there's a really strong visual signature which he likes also, because if it looked exactly like 18 karat gold, then it wouldn't have anything that's distinct about it. He's joking that the only way you could tell is by taking 2 gold cases and rubbing them together, and the one that's scratched is not magic gold. But, okay, so
But it's also key for the product development, because this watch is really a specific color.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
not a standard gold color.
Yes.
We can manage the relationship with our customers. They say, okay, you buy a watch very unique color and design and unscratchable 18 karat gold. It means if you imagine the same color as the standard gold, it's difficult to have a USP, unique selling
Point, yeah,
point
yeah.
for that.
No,
it's really cool.
Same for red ceramic.
I mean, as Mathias was saying, you get a visual signature that like at 30 meters, you know what the guy is wearing. Okay, so in terms of visual signature, we then have to talk about this, the magic ceramic, which has created this incredible, I want to say, polka dot-like effect of different colored ceramic. Raphaël, what was the motivation for this, and how did you achieve this?
Yes, we always try to push the boundaries, and we challenge Mathias to obtain one day a multicolor ceramic, and he is working very hard on the processing to make this kind of combination. Okay, first of all, it is a kind of round circle of ceramic inside the black bezel. Anyway, we can do different kind of shape, different kind of draw for the bezel, and the challenge was, he could explain one more time more in details, but it was really the opportunity to have a multicolor ceramic, but not only in the surface, in really the three-dimensional of the ceramic.
So
It's
the
really
material
like
itself is actually...
material itself. If you cut the bezel,
It's
you can see it's through the surface and through the axis X and Z, everything is inside the raw material.
incredible. So Mathias, how did you make this?
Comment on le fait?
Oui.
Yes.
Aujourd'hui, nous sommes en demande de dépôt de brevet. Donc, de rentrer dans les détails,
Oui.
je ne vais pas le faire parce que le brevet, après, peut tomber dans le domaine public.
You know, it's really funny. Sorry to interrupt you, but there was actually one other brand that was chasing exactly the same thing, and I think you got there just before them as well. So I understand the complexity.
It's
of it.
always a competition between
Mais,
some brands.
mais je peux répondre d'une façon hors brevet quand même. La difficulté des céramiques, lorsque on veut mettre des couleurs ensemble, c'est que c'est l'interface entre ces deux couleurs qui est extrêmement difficile à faire. Pourquoi? Parce que en fonction des pigments de couleurs qu'on va mettre dans une céramique ou dans une autre, lorsqu'on les met frités ensemble, c'est des fois comme en cuisine, si on met deux choses à cuire ensemble, ben, au contact de ces deux choses, pour avoir une ligne parfaite, c'est presque impossible.
Oui.
Et c'est ce qui se passe avec la céramique. Pourquoi? Parce que la céramique, c'est une purée d'une couleur, puis une autre purée d'une autre couleur. Puis si on les fait chauffer les deux en même temps dans l'état liquide, dans l'état de fusion, eh ben, ils vont se mélanger, comme
You
toutes
can
les cuisines.
You can imagine oil in water.
Yeah,
It's difficult to
separate them.
separate
Yes.
them. And the different color of ceramic, as you explained, could be difficult.
On est vraiment dans les réflexes de la cuisine.
Right.
Yeah.
Mais c'est une grande cuisine, la céramique et la céramique de couleur, disons, de multicolore. C'est avant tout pas de la science, mais des combines de cuisiniers. On arrive tout d'un coup à dire « Ah, ben ces deux choses-là, elles ne se mélangent pas ». C'est le sujet du brevet parce qu'on a fait des choses qui font qu'ils ne peuvent pas se mélanger. Mais la nature veut se mélanger tout le temps, et c'est pour ça que personne avant n'est arrivé à faire ça. Ils ont des brevets, certains concurrents, on ne va pas en parler en donnant leur nom, mais ils agissent sur la surface de la matière. Et ils mettent une couleur sur 15 microns environ d'épaisseur. Donc c'est vraiment une coloration de surface. Si on venait à casser la pièce, on voit qu'à l'intérieur, la couleur est blanche ou la couleur de base de la céramique. Mais la nôtre a vraiment des couleurs totalement traversantes. C'est pour ça qu'on avait fait ce design qui n'est pas une recherche de design, mais qui est qui était là pour montrer, pour faire un petit peu un pied de nez à quelques concurrents qui sont en surface, pour leur dire, regardez, nous, on a trouvé une combine pour pas être en surface, mais être vraiment pénétrant et mélanger assembler ces céramiques, qu'elles vivent ensemble et pas tricher en surface. Voilà.
So Mathias is making an analogy to cooking. So if you were trying to cook two different types of materials together, so let's say two purees or soups, the problem is that they're going to mix together. And this is what happens when it sinters, when ceramic sinters, becomes liquid at some point, right? So he had to find a technique that would separate these things. And he said he can't really go into it now because they're in the middle of the brevet, the patent. But what is important to understand is that this material, as Raphaël had said, is all the way through. It's multicolored and creates these forms all the way through, which is why the bezel is created so that it's three-dimensional, that you can see on the side as well, that it's not just a surface treatment, which is being used by some other companies. Okay, cool. So maybe I can talk to you about the summer watch, the Big Bang, because it's been very popular for you, but it's also really nice because it showcases the combinations of colors that you can have with ceramic. Raphaël, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it is probably the last expression of multicolor ceramic, but in a way, as you know, we can play with the Big Bang. Means a multi-layers construction case. And the idea behind it was really to have a very cool summer vibe watches with one of our in-house development ceramic, the orange ceramic, and the sky blue ceramic is a perfect combination with different kind of colored ceramic.
I mean, it's also, you know, this idea of material innovation is so important also because this is at the very roots of what Hublot is all about, right? A combination of rubber and gold. But it seems Mathias has brought something he wants to show us.
Ces couleurs-là, c'est une multicolore, mais avec des pièces différentes.
Oui.
Et ce qui nous permet maintenant, avec cette technologie-là, ça c'est un prototype, hein, c'est un premier jet, c'est de mettre des couleurs très été, par exemple, mais sur la même pièce. Donc on va pouvoir faire des composants de couleurs différentes, mais avec la même céramique.
So Mathias was saying, you know, he likes his watch a lot, obviously, but it's being made with separate pieces combined in the Hublot because it's got this modular structure. Then you have a multicolored watch. But he said, could we actually, using the technology of the magic ceramic, make this, which is one piece of ceramic, but with the colors, but also creating the separation and it's three-dimensional. So you can see here, here, here. It's all the way through. It's not just a surface treatment. So ça, c'est le futur.
Aujourd'hui, on n'a pas de limite. La seule limite, et c'est un appel à l'industrie, on n'arrive pas à mélanger, à faire vivre ensemble la couleur, c'est pas une couleur, mais le noir et toutes les autres couleurs.
Ah.
C'est-à-dire qu'on peut faire toutes les couleurs qu'on désire, mais pas le noir.
Mais pas noir. Intéressant.
Alors
kind of frustration
pour Hublot,
Because I was actually going to say, a black and white one would be really cool. Yeah, like a zebra.
Really cool, yeah.
Alors si jamais c'est un appel à qui a du noir pour nous aider à faire ça. On a tout essayé pour l'instant et c'est la seule limite qu'on a aujourd'hui.
Cool. Merci beaucoup. So, guys, stay tuned because now we're going to go to our next chapter in material innovation, and it's going to be carbon fiber. It's going to be sapphire crystal.
Sapphire crystal.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about, I guess, chapter 2, which is sapphire crystals. So, Hublot today, I think I associate it really as one of the pioneers in sapphire. Hublot today, I really associate as one of the pioneers in sapphire crystal technology. I know you guys were the first to really develop colored sapphire crystal, but Raphaël, take us back to the origin story. Where did sapphire crystal begin with Hublot?
Time flies. In 2016, we introduced for the first time a Big Bang Unico in sapphire, in transparent sapphire. In a way, for Hublot, it was a new chapter because sapphire, it's very hot, it's very difficult to produce the raw material, and we would like to say it's a new, no, not a mainstream because the product has very specific price, but at this time they have just one brand. They use sapphire in the collection, very, very high pieces, very, very high prices. That's why we kind of democratization of sapphire when we introduced the Big Bang sapphire in 2016.
Yeah, I think your price was like 20 times less than the other brand.
Something like that. Yeah.
But But I think it's really wonderful to have sapphire crystal because it's a material that allows you to look at the inner workings of the watch from every single dimension. You know, you can turn it at this angle, that angle, and it is just magical to look at. But I think you rapidly progressed to wanting to create colored sapphire crystal, which at the time was a big problem. But fortunately, you had Mathias Buttet to help you. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mathias Buttet, we invest a lot in terms of specific oven also to develop our own sapphire blocks.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we should talk about how this is different. So
Okay.
the majority of brands are purchasing pre-made sapphire crystal cases and components from one or two suppliers here in Switzerland, and sometimes outside of Switzerland as well. So I don't want to get into that. But you guys are actually growing your crystals here, and are you machining it yourself this year?
But of course, we do honestly small quantity for our development know-how.
Right.
We are not able to produce huge quantity of sapphire. You know, we have just 3 ovens.
Right.
And we do especially transparent sapphire. We do and we try to make color sapphire, but it's just for us a new development for the color sapphire. We are able to do transparent sapphire.
Okay, so
this is key for us to say we are able to do some block of sapphire in-house. And the color sapphire is another kind of complexity we are not able to do until now in our factory.
But how do you make colored sapphire crystal? Mathias, c'est quoi la technique pour créer le cristal saphir avec de couleurs?
Ok. Le saphir, c'est une formule chimique qui est très simple. Al2O3. On ne peut pas faire plus simple que ça. Le saphir, c'est simple. C'est simple, mais parce que c'est simple, c'est hyper compliqué. C'est comme ça qu'on définit les femmes, souvent, quand on peut rigoler. Mais pour que le saphir ait une autre couleur que sa couleur d'origine, il faut le salir, il faut le polluer. Il faut mettre des oxydes de métaux, principalement, à cause des températures qu'il y a à l'intérieur du saphir. Parce que le saphir, dans sa création de saphir synthétique, de saphir artificiel, industriel, on a une température de 2050 degrés.
2050.
Alors, à 2050 degrés, tous les pigments de couleur, ils brûlent bien avant 2050 degrés. Alors, c'est très complexe de les introduire pendant la cristallisation et on doit en fait polluer avec ces oxydes de métaux. Et pour résumer très très vite, parce que la chimie des métaux c'est corsé, il y a du monde, on peut dire que chaque métal a son oxyde et que chaque oxyde a une couleur particulière. Donc, en associant certains oxydes, on arrive à faire que la cristallisation du saphir, elle devienne un peu rouge, un peu bleu, un peu ci et ça. Et additionné à ça, il y a des traitements thermiques. Une fois que le pain est fait, il y a des traitements thermiques qui se font quand le pain est fini, avec des températures, des seuils, des rampes, des montées en température lentes, rapides. Tout ça peut influencer l'oxydation de ces oxydes de métaux qu'on met à l'intérieur pour changer la couleur.
Oui.
Et pour que ça reste translucide, très joli, pour pas que ça fasse des taches, parce que ça peut très vite faire du dalmatien, un peu avec des taches partout. Mais pour que ce soit comme de l'eau colorée, parce que c'est un petit peu ça, eh bien, la chimie qui intervient, elle est d'une complexité, mais très difficile. Alors, en interne, on maîtrise le saphir transparent maintenant, on a compris comment ça marchait, et puis on attend de déménager dans le nouveau bâtiment pour avoir des locaux spéciaux pour attaquer la recherche de couleurs en interne.
So, Raphaël, I'm going to let you take that translation because it sounds very technical.
Yeah, I try. First of all, as he explained, normally when we do a sapphire, a block of sapphire with transparent color, it's quite easy. It takes 2 weeks, and we have 2000 degrees during 2 weeks, and at the end, with kind of
easy.
In a way, we have a block of sapphire. For the color, it's more complex because we need to add some oxide, metallic oxide, like chromium, titanium, or different kind of oxide, just to obtain different kind of color. And it is really an experimental processing. We are not able to do the color sapphire now in-house. We expect to do that in the future in our new building. It is quite difficult to make a sapphire with different kind of color.
But it's really interesting because I think Mathias was also mentioning, even at the end of the process, you have to be super careful. There's a certain thermal treatment in terms of how you descend the temperature. Also, you have to ensure that it's done really properly. Otherwise, what can happen is like these inclusions or spots will happen in there. I think he mentioned like a Dalmatian, and then it becomes not usable. You want it to be pure and clear, like colored water, I think he was saying. Okay, so talk to me about this, because also it's remarkable that you did not only just a sapphire crystal case, bezel, case back, you did a sapphire crystal bracelet, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nuts. When did you introduce this? Why was it important? And how hard is it? And what is the oxide that you're using to create this? What is the name of this?
This is a Big Bang integrated for beyond the watch.
The color?
The color is purple.
Oh, just okay.
Purple sapphire. Yeah.
So how did you create this incredible purple color for this Big Bang integrated sapphire?
As I explained before, it's really a kind of different kind of oxide. We use it to obtain the purple. I don't know exactly, but it was probably chromium, titanium, and different kind of range of temperature to obtain a block of sapphire in purple. But the difficulty is to obtain the transparency without kind of pollution is at the end. The block of sapphire need to be selected, and we cannot use all the block of sapphire because we have some quality issue in terms of transparency. We have some pollution in some parts. Mean the price and the difficulties to produce color sapphire is increased a lot compared to a transparent sapphire.
Incredible.
It's what you can imagine for every of single links. We need to have a perfect transparency and a perfect color transition. And you can imagine when you have a block of sapphire, the color inside the block of sapphire, it's not at all the different area exactly the same purple we want to do.
Et la moindre pollution pendant la cristallisation change tout. Change que le saphir est pas vraiment de qualité, il n'est pas optique, etc.
Oui.
Donc ça change la qualité, sa dureté, donc l'usinage qu'il y a derrière. Et puis pour être certain que la couleur qu'on désire avoir sorte vraiment, c'est 1 sur 10, c'est-à-dire qu'on fait 10 pains, et puis il y en a peut-être un qui nous rend heureux parce que c'est la couleur qu'on désirait.
So there's a huge amount of wastage in the process as well.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so just for you guys to understand also, it's not assured that when they're growing the crystals that it's going to be usable. And so oftentimes if you're trying to do something very complex, a really unique color, it can be 1 out of 10 pieces that will really give you the optic clarity that you need.
And also, in a way, for the product development teams to develop a watch case and bracelet like that, it's really challenging because we don't want to have, issue in terms of quality for the final customer, and we really try to do our best to maximize the thickness with the perfect ergonomic on your wrist. It's always a compromise between comfort and quality.
Okay, what is the practical advantage of having a sapphire crystal watch beyond it being stunning? It's also extremely durable, right? I mean, it's one of the hardest materials in the world.
Yeah, just behind the diamonds, sapphire is just 9 point something, and diamond is 10.
Ouais.
It's very, very hard. At opposite, because it's hard, it's in a way it's fragile against shock. That's why we need to explain to our customer it's not like a titanium watch. You cannot play tennis. You cannot go a specific sport because if you shock your watch, it should be an issue that something break. That's why it's also like when you drive your Ferrari, you cannot go in the forest because it could be not good for the car. It's the same for this kind of watch.
Got it.
You need to be careful.
Okay, so sapphire crystal has also allowed you to create really beautiful and complex shapes as well. So we have here the 2 Daniel Arsham watches, the wristwatch and also the pocket watch that was launched before it. And then you have a very unique timepiece here with a linear winding, which I really dig as well. It is the MP10.
10, right.
And so tell us about how sapphire crystal gives you these great expressive possibilities.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting watch to look at what will be a transparent sapphire, to see the movement on every angle. It is an ergonomic round shape, and you can see all the details from the functionality of the linear oscillating weight, not oscillating weight, but the linear weight
Yeah.
to reload the rechargeable watch.
I love the way you can feel it.
The transparency is it's crazy. And yeah, Sapphire, it's probably the best raw material for this kind of watch.
So you really reach into this idea of like a contemporary art piece, a sculpture on your wrist as well.
Yeah,
and I guess that really is a good transition into Daniel Arsham's watches. So talk to me about why Daniel wanted to use sapphire crystal as part of what he was creating.
Yeah, Daniel Arsham is really inspired from organic shape. Transparency is key for him. And when we work together, he really challenged Hublot to develop a watch, very round shape. You can play with it for the pocket watch, for example. It's like a piece of stone, round stone, you know, and that's completely different compared to our Big Bang product. You know, they are very statement, specific angle. It is a sporty watch, and this watch is much more like a piece of art. It is really a way to have a maximum of transparency with the two main parts in complete sapphire to have a perfect transparency. That's very cool, and of course the watch is available with two different kind of chain. You can wear on your pants. You can wear on your body like a necklace. That's a very cool product, and it's a way also to say sapphire. It's probably the best things to have a maximum of transparency.
But on this watch, you're using sapphire in a different way, where you're kind of treating it so that it's not transparent but translucent.
Yeah.
Why?
It was also in terms of development a way to say, okay, sapphire is transparent.
Right.
If you have a transparency, you need to see something through, and for this kind of watch, it is a very simple shape. It is a round shape. The splash is just on the dial, open dial area, and he would like to have a kind of transparency, but a kind of matte structure for the bezel.
Nice.
And I think it's a new way to have a different expression of sapphire bezel.
Does this start transparent like that, and then you have to treat it?
Yeah.
And that's so how?
It is laser engraved
Okay.
with a specific structure.
So it's funny because you're taking something that's transparent and then you're intentionally using a laser ablation to create a translucency.
Yeah.
But that gives you opportunities to play in the future, and that transitions well into the next watch because we have a smoked sapphire crystal, which incidentally is one of my favorite. Just like optically, it's so cool because it's transparent, but there's something a bit mysterious and furtive about it, you know?
Yeah, it is a smoked sapphire, but to be clear, it's a specific treatment. We do a specific treatment, not inside the sapphire, but in the surface of sapphire. But due to the transparency of sapphire, it is not on the surface of the watch. It is protected by the sapphire. It is a above treatment, smoked, and of course, as you said, black is really a part of Hublot DNA, and the transparent smoked black sapphire is an incredible product in our collection.
I love it. I mean, I get the fact that it's a coating and it's put in the interior so it's protected, but it's taking advantage of the technical innovation or material innovation to be able to have this effect. And I'm going to go on the record, I think if you were to use this material on the 42 Unico, it would be a killer.
Should be.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to me about sapphire crystal technology. Oh, last question. How many colors? Combien de couleurs est-ce que vous avez dans la saphir crystal?
Wow. Qu'est-ce qu'on a déjà fait? C'est une bonne question.
Red,
blue, water blue,
which is the lighter, exactly.
Blue, yellow,
right?
Orange, purple,
right?
Okay, black, transparent on this black is the treatment.
Yeah.
Let's say 8. And we have also 2 additional, we are not in sapphire, it's saxem.
Which is
green saxem and yellow saxem color.
Saxum is aluminum oxide, earth metals.
With earth mineral.
Earth minerals. So sapphire, aluminum oxide, and earth minerals.
You can say it's a kind of the nearest cousin of Sapphire,
Right.
but the structure is different. That's
Okay.
important. It's
Right.
not a trigonal structure; it's a cubic structure.
Okay.
The raw material is not exactly the same.
Right.
Of course, in terms of transparency and hardness, is quite the same, but we cannot say Sapphire. That's why
Okay.
we have a specific nickname.
Okay.
This is a Saxon.
But the color is amazing on these.
Yeah, because
yeah.
we have an emerald color,
Yeah.
green emerald color.
And the
we
yellow
cannot
one's incredible,
obtain-
yeah.
and we cannot obtain this kind of color.
The
with
first time I saw
Sapphire.
those timepieces, and we'll show you an image of the yellow Saxon right now, like you genuinely think that it's like the whole thing is luminous.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on there? You know, or radioactive.
I remember it was in Singapore.
Yeah, it's really cool.
In a watch week.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Mathias. Merci beaucoup, Raphaël. Thank you. And now we're going to have a transition into our next material. Okay, guys, we're now going to go into one of my favorite chapters, and it's one of my favorite materials. It's carbon fiber. So, Raphaël, tell me about when carbon fiber first made its way into the Hublot Big Bang.
We introduced carbon fiber in 2010. I remember that very well because it was for the first time to use carbon fiber. In a normal way, we use, kind of checkboard carbon fiber design. And at that time, it was kind of new popularity to use carbon fiber due to the lightweight, of course, first, and especially with a specific design of this carbon fiber.
One of the watches that I remember that you made in carbon fiber was an incredible tourbillon minute repeater. And I had no idea that there was actually clearly a very powerful, strong amplification in carbon fiber as well. You know, do you remember Mr. Beaver used to wear this watch? Mathias, vous vous souvenez de ça?
Oui, c'était une époque fantastique. C'était la pièce préférée, la plus longuement portée par Jean-Claude Biver. Parce que quand il a entendu le son, c'est un grand collectionneur de répétitions minutes, quand il a entendu le son de cette pièce, il se croyait sur une autre planète, quoi. Donc avec lui à Baselworld, on allait chez les concurrents qui étaient des amis à Jean-Claude, et puis il faisait sonner chaque fois la répétition minute, et voilà, c'était quelque chose d'important pour lui, et c'était incroyable.
Et j'ai jamais pensé que le fibre de carbone, il a cette capacité d'amplifier le son. C'est ça?
Oui, alors il y a deux phénomènes qui vont en même temps. C'est parce qu'avec la fibre de carbone, on arrive à une matière de boîte qui est plus fine. Alors, automatiquement, ça laisse plus de volume d'air, et la résonance du son, elle est importante avec le volume d'air. Même pour des instruments de musique et tout, c'est la même physique, c'est les mêmes mathématiques qui sont là-dedans. Et en plus de ça, la fibre de carbone résonne, amplifie la bonne résonance du volume d'air. Donc il y a les deux phénomènes. Mais ça donne quelque chose qui, pour l'instant, c'est incomparable à toutes les autres matières qu'on utilise. C'est incroyable.
So, Raphaël, today you have actually many different expressions of carbon fiber and also an additional material called texalium. Why don't you walk us through examples? For example, I believe here you've got what is called frosted carbon fiber.
Yeah, in a way, for the carbon fiber, we have many things to have a differentiation in terms of design, and that's why we worked on different kind of combination of carbon fiber with specific fiber. And for the frosted carbon, it's a way to mix a very small part of carbon fiber inside the raw material. We obtain this kind of frosted carbon, and the final design is very cool and different compared to the different kind of carbon fiber developed in the past 10 years.
C'est quoi exactement la technique pour créer le frosted carbon, Mathias?
On est très proche des techniques du tissage du textile.
Ah oui?
Très proche. C'est pas exactement la même chose, mais c'est très proche. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on fait une maille spéciale avec des fils de carbone,
oui,
et on les oriente comme on peut faire un tricot ou
cool, ça.
Quelque chose de différent à chaque fois. On peut faire une couture différente, une broderie différente, et puis après, c'est avec des époxys qu'on vient en fait figer cette texture. Alors évidemment, il faut la tenir bien comme il faut, etc. Il ne faut pas qu'elle ait comme une couverture, comme un lit qui est mal fait, on voit des plis partout. Eh bien là, il faut que ce soit bien posé, bien tissé, puis après on vient mettre des époxys qui viennent figer ce design de texture, on va dire ça comme ça.
But for the frosted, it is a little bit different
Ouais.
because it is
Voilà.
kind of random of
Mhm.
fiber carbon to obtain a specific look. But in a way, we can
C'est
do many
différent,
things,
mais-
as you said. We can do many things because we can mix different kind of.
It's really interesting because carbon fiber started initially as a performance material. So people were, they liked the look of it, but the look was a byproduct of creating something that was very light, very rigid, had great, did not fatigue as a material, and it was used primarily in like auto sports and aeronautics and so on like that. But as we progressed as a culture, we started to find an aesthetic appeal in carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And I think you were really the first to really identify this and start to play with the orientation of carbon fiber and express it in different ways. So you're saying that, for example, in frosted carbon, it's a random pattern, but at the same time, you can also orient it in whatever way you want. As Mathias said, it's almost like weaving. You can create like a check pattern or a hex, a herringbone or whatever, kind of like in weaving. Talk to me about this watch, which is certainly very expressive. It's called the Tiger, a Spirit of Big Bang, but it's a combination of carbon and gold, and from a material innovation perspective, I find it very interesting.
Yeah. One more time, it's a good expression of what are the heart of fusion, because it is a carbon fiber where we had some gold, 28 karat gold element inside the raw material inside the tool. Because as Mathias explained, it's really a combination of carbon fiber. Inside the tool, we can add kind of gold, and we can press all together to obtain this kind of interesting fusion. And this is a watch we did for the Year of Tiger a few years ago.
I mean,
the look is amazing.
It's very powerful. There's a lot going on, but it's from an innovation perspective, very, very interesting, because you can combine these materials together.
And don't forget, carbon fiber, it's really modern raw material, as you said, especially used for sailing, bicycle, for the skill performance of this raw material.
Right.
And we have here an interesting combination with gold. This is a very old raw material combined with a very modern raw material, which is carbon fiber.
That's very cool. Now, you talked about how you can orientate the fibers. You can even use different colored fibers as well. You can mix things in. But at the same time, you can also use a colored epoxy to create a colored effect as well. So is that what's going on here?
It's very interesting and complex realization for this kind of raw material in carbon fiber. As you can see, we have different kind of purple resin inside the carbon fiber. And it's really like a puzzle realization. We really do a kind of, not a sponge, but a kind of structure with some hole. And we had a kind of resin in purple color. It's very oriented to obtain this kind of regular design for the raw material.
Mais je parlais tout à l'heure de textile.
Oui.
Et nos évolutions dans la fibre de carbone ont suivi exactement la même courbe que dans le textile. Je crois que c'est assez normal. D'abord, on est en 2 dimensions. Avec les premières fibres de carbone, on regardait et puis c'était un truc qui était tissé comme ça et on comprenait qu'il y avait un fil, un autre fil, un fil.
Oui.
Puis c'est comme un métier à tisser déjà qui date de l'époque féodale. Mais la technologie a évolué et qu'est-ce qui a évolué ? C'est le tissage, c'est-à-dire qu'à la place d'être en 2 dimensions, tout d'un coup, il y a une 3e dimension où on vient mettre des fils orientés différemment, comme si les tissus n'étaient plus en 2 dimensions,
Oui, c'est 3 dimensions.
mais on est en 3 dimensions.
Mais pourquoi?
Parce que quand il y a des sollicitations extérieures, par exemple, je prends mon tissu ici, je tire dessus, il va se déchirer toujours à peu près dans la même direction.
C'est plus fort.
Mais si on est en 3 dimensions, les sollicitations extérieures, là par exemple, pour déchirer une feuille de papier ou un tissu, je vais le mettre à plat et je déchire. Mais si c'est en 3 dimensions, je ne sais pas dans quel sens le prendre parce que la résistance sera pareille dans tous les axes d'un volume.
This is really interesting because if you guys think about it, when carbon fiber was first introduced, it was always in this sort of uniform woven pattern. And that's what I associate with very early carbon fiber. there was an evolution away from that where you have now what looks like much more random patterns. And I was asking Mathias why that was, and he said it's because the woven pattern is primarily two-dimensional, and it creates like not weakness, but it creates a point of where it is less durable. No, let's not put it that way. But okay, the evolution that occurred was for the material to start to become, if you can imagine, three-dimensional, weaving in 3 dimensions. And this sort of apparent randomness creates strength in every direction. Whereas if it's always in a uniform pattern, it can be, there's a certain weakness because you can go against the weave of that pattern. And so it was really, c'est un évolution fonctionnelle, en fait.
Oui.
Yeah, this kind of raw material is used recently for satellite.
Oh, wow.
Because they need to have lightweight carbon fiber for specific needs, but they need a very strong, without any elasticity, very strong raw material.
Yes.
That's why at the beginning, the first use is for this kind of things. They had a 3 axes with carbon fiber to stabilize the carbon fiber. And we use this kind of idea to make this kind of design.
That's
but
cool.
Anyway, it's the first needs are for satellite.
What's the research for carbon? Is it all done in the same material innovation lab, or?
We have a Swiss partner
Okay.
for a long time ago, and we develop everything in Switzerland with these specific partners.
Okay.
We cannot say here, but it's guys working with us to develop a different kind of raw material you have on that presentation.
So let's go from carbon fiber then to Texalium. This is the Big Bang golf watch, right?
Yeah, right.
What is Texalium, and how is it, from a performance perspective, different from carbon?
Recently, in 2018, when we developed a new kind of carbon fiber, as Mathias explained before, we can imagine different kind of shape and also kind of raw material. This is a carbon fiber case, standard carbon case, but with a last leaf,
Okay.
which is an additional Texalium. Is the nickname of this raw material is Texalium, is TM, so it's a specific TM raw material used in the industry, but it is here especially for the design and look, because we can obtain a flashy, vivid color like this light blue. We cannot do it with a black carbon fiber. That's why the idea is to add a last leaf of Texalium on the raw material, just for the look.
Mais je reviens, c'est comme les textiles, c'est-à-dire qu'on peut avoir du coton où il n'y a que du coton. Tu dis c'est dur. Tout d'un coup, tu as une idée. Tu dis, je vais mettre une fibre élastique à l'intérieur. Et tu remets de l'élastique. Et tu prends le truc et il est élastique.
Oui.
Mais c'est un tissu, toujours. Qu'est-ce qui a changé? Quelle matière on va mettre dans la texture? Alors, quand on dit Texalium, il y a texture, puis allium pour aluminium, pour ces métaux. Donc, le carbone ne peut pas avoir une autre couleur.
Oui.
C'est du carbone. Le carbone, c'est noir et c'est sa nature et on ne peut pas la changer. Si on change sa nature, c'est plus du carbone. C'est simple. Alors, pour changer la couleur, comme c'est des textures, comme c'est comme du tissu, d'accord? Eh bien, on met une autre fibre pendant le tissage et puis on a une autre couleur.
Wow.
Mais c'est pas du carbone.
It's an additional fabrics
Yes.
in Texalium.
What is Texalium used for outside of the watch industry?
Especially for decoration parts, furnitures or something like that.
But it's strong also, or?
It's strong because the raw material is in carbon fiber.
Got
if
it.
you see the side, it's a black carbon fiber. It's just a decoration surface inside the raw material.
So it gives you another opportunity to showcase carbon, but in a different way with a more powerful, vivid color. Very cool. Okay, so guys, we have now finished the chapter on carbon fiber. And stay tuned because we have one final chapter to introduce to you. Guys, this is going to be the final chapter for now in this video about Hublot's incredible heritage in material innovation. And it's about materials of the future. So we're going to look at 2 watches. One is the Djokovic chronograph, which was launched, was that last year?
Last year, yeah.
Yes. And resulted actually in the world's lightest automatic chronograph, which is something really remarkable. It's using recycled tennis rackets and jerseys or polos.
Jerseys, polos,
It's also got a peak container inside of it. It's got a movement that's made specifically out of aluminum, which is really cool. And it comes on this Velcro strap. And then over here, we have a watch that remarkably enough is made out of concrete. Right? So why don't we start with the Djokovic watch, because that one I can wrap my head around pretty easily. You have an incredible ambassador in this gentleman, but you wanted to create a watch that really made a strong alliance between him as a player and his capacity as a performance athlete and the watch itself. Talk to me about this and the technology that was used for the material.
Yeah, it's two goals for us with this collaboration with Wei Koh is to have a lightweight watch. Lightweight means, you remember just a few minutes ago we spoke about carbon fiber. And second thing is, for Wei Koh it's very important to have a sustainable product, and that's why we reuse rackets, defect rackets, because using a lot of rackets during 1 year, and also a polo jersey inside the raw material. Lightweight means we have a kind of, like the carbon fiber, we have a resin with kind of additional fabrics polo. We use it, and also the small black element are the real carbon element from the racket.
So the rackets themselves are made of carbon fiber.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Okay. Because this, I explained before, right. The first use for carbon fiber is a lightweight, it's bicycle racket of a tennis racket, and that's for us the development of this watch.
So, but how do you create the material?
First of all, we deal some rackets from Wei Koh, and we break it in a specific machine to make a very small elements. Same with polo and jersey, and yes, we put together, but not in a random way, because we would like to have a good balance between the color, the blue color of the original polo, and just a kind of specific black carbon fiber inside the raw material to obtain this beautiful watch.
Do you add additional materials in, or is it only these two materials?
Now we have also a central case in peak.
Peak carbon,
It's a black peak. The movement is also specifically developed with additional aluminium main plate and some different parts to reduce the weight of this movement.
And it's beautifully anodized blue as well.
Yeah, it's
gorgeous.
Light blue anodized, or PVD means. And finally, we have also, all the decorating part on the watch case are in aluminium anodized.
What's the weight?
Less than 50 grams with this strap.
Right. This is the elastic one.
Yeah,
nice.
Because you have no buckle on this strap. It is a lightweight, and with this one it's just 53 grams, something like that.
Right.
And about ball of tennis is 56 grams.
So this is lighter.
This is more or less lightweight. This watch is light compared to a ball of tennis.
Mathias, est-ce que je trouve ça intéressant, ce défi de faire quelque chose qui est joli, qui est fonctionnel, mais aussi qui utilise d'autres matériaux comme rackets, tennis rackets?
Oui, et qui raconte une histoire d'abord. L'histoire de sa vie, l'histoire de ses victoires, etc. C'est aussi ça le message avec une montre comme ça. C'est pas seulement de faire une nouvelle matière, mais c'est de souligner, disons, la vie de Djokovic et puis ses victoires. Et puis c'est vraiment un symbole de toute sa vie, de ses combats. C'est d'abord ça, c'est pas seulement une nouvelle matière.
Ça, c'est très intéressant. So what Mathias is saying is it's not for him, material innovation doesn't mean just performance. Material innovation can tell stories as well. And the whole idea that's really meaningful, it's actual rackets that he played with, it was actual polos that he sweated in, during his Grand Slams. That there's really a very salient and real connection between this superstar athlete and this watch. That's meaningful to him. And it's really an interesting chapter that this is opening up also for materials, because materials can tell these incredible stories too.
Yeah, you can do an incredible story with this kind of combination, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The metal elements that we see here, these are aluminum or?
Yeah, it's aluminium with a light blue anodization.
Right. On parle toujours d'ADN dans les produits de DNA. Hein.
DNA,
toutes
right.
les marques vont parler de
This
ça.
actually has DNA.
Et là, on a pris au mot le mot DNA pour DNA, hop, dans la montre et voilà. Et c'est correct de faire ça.
Et je peux vous demander le concrete jungle. Okay, first of all, I get it. It's got a cool name, but why would you decide to make a watch out of concrete of all materials?
I think first of all we have a flagship in New York. And New York is the concrete jungle city in the world, and that's why we would like to have a dedicated watch for this city. And we try to say, okay, we don't want to do a fake concrete watch, because you can do a gray resin color in specific way to say this is a concrete watch, but this is really, we use a real concrete inside this watch case component.
Right.
In a way, all are combined together with a resin of epoxy, but we use a real concrete. We cannot use a real concrete with water like we do a building. Of course, it's fragile. But
Mathias, ça vous plaît, ces montres parce que ça raconte quelque chose, une histoire, et c'est quoi la technique pour créer quelque chose comme ça?
C'est drôle parce que on prend l'ADN de quelqu'un, mais on prend aussi l'ADN de la marque, parce que l'ADN de la marque, c'est la fusion.
Oui.
Et si ça, c'est pas de la fusion, qu'est-ce que c'est? C'est vraiment, en cuisine, on prend tout ce qu'il y a des deux et on fait une montre avec la totalité.
Oui.
Alors, je dois être très franc, je n'aime pas vraiment la démarche scientifique là-dedans parce qu'elle est faible. Par contre, le storytelling et les émotions qu'on met à travers une pièce comme ça la rend très riche et ça la rend différente du marché en général, parce que justement, on cherche toujours une matière innovante pour sa technicité et tout ça, mais là c'est de la poésie, quelque part. Ah, c'est des émotions à 100%.
Au niveau des histoires, c'est cool. What is it from a functional perspective? Does it have the same Vickers hardness, the same...
We are not so far carbon fiber case.
Okay.
It's lightweight. It's all of this kind of product are based on the same kind of resin. Means we had specific fabrics or specific concrete. It's a composite. It's a kind of composite.
C'est complexe malgré tout. Hein. Je disais pas que ça n'est pas complexe, mais ça n'est pas nos habitudes de faire des matériaux en cherchant de la céramique, du saphir, des choses comme ça. Là, on est vraiment dans une proposition très, très artistique, presque organique. On parle d'ADN, on parle de tout ça. On est presque dans une nouvelle ligne de montres qui ne parle pas forcément de matériaux comme on a l'habitude, quoi.
Tout à fait.
C'est une fusion entre storytelling et matière.
Innovation is always key for us. In a hard material like sapphire or ceramic, in a very lightweight material like carbon or different kind of fabrics, raw material. But as you explained, Mathias, always with a kind of storytelling behind.
With emotion.
Do a watch with emotion.
Yeah.
A watch is emotion. You buy a watch not only for this, performance, but also for the story behind. And the emotion is key, especially for this kind of watch.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Again, congratulations on your 15 years here at Hublot, and for your 30 years in the watch industry, your 37 years in the watch industry, Mathias. It's also really important to me as well, because I think great maisons or great brands are composed of really passionate human beings, and these two guys clearly are. They put a lot of their heart and soul into the creations that you see, and I love Hublot, right? Like I understand now that we're in a moment in the market where a lot of people want to go back into the 18th century, but I also feel as if when you are something that's unique or singular, stick to that, right? And just be that. And I feel that that's what I love about Hublot right now. It's not trying to, go back 200 years or whatever. It's always got its eyes fixed on the future. I think the thing that you need to understand, and I hope that this video has portrayed, is there's a lot of scientific research, a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and a lot of really powerful technical innovation from the movement side, as we saw with the Unico, and also from the material side, as we see now with Mathias and Raphaël. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Mathias. And guys, if you like our content,
years
yes, and if you like our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Peace.